Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and as of today, World of Warcraft Classic should be available as a demo. In this video, I wanted to make a WoW Vanilla or WoW Classic themed video and give you guys some of my very first impressions the first time I tried WoW Vanilla. I never got to play WoW Vanilla when it was really a thing. I wasn't even living in US when that happened, but during Warlords General, I feel like a lot of people can admit they tried Nostarius or a private server at one point or another, and I was one of those people. And I still remember the impressions the game left on me, Vanilla World of Warcraft versus what was at the time Warlords General, and something I can still compare it to, which is Battle for Azeroth to this day. So, I want to give you guys my 4 impressions I was able to get out of WoW Vanilla first time trying it as someone who played retail WoW for like the longest. And I feel like those are the same impressions you guys might face when you try WoW Classic Demo, especially if it's your first time trying it ever. So, let's get into the video. The first thing I noticed about WoW Vanilla when I started playing is the RPG element of an MMORPG is a lot more present. What I'm liking about the RPG element is, the immersiveness of like the game really makes you believe into the world, right? It really draws you in. Where I ended up finding this immersiveness is when I was playing my hunter as a Tauren. I first had to go through a quest to find how to tame pets, and then I had to tame my own pet, and then I realized that the pet has a happy meter, so I need to make sure that pet is now fed. I'm also a hunter, so I need to make sure I have enough ammo, and then I'm always dying to mobs, so I need to make sure there's enough food. So where I found the immersiveness in this game, and the charming factor of it, is every time I have to go into town, like I have to go into Thunderbluff, it's almost like I'm preparing for an adventure. I'm running from vendor to vendor, but I'm having to make sure I have enough food for myself, I have enough food for my pet, I have enough ammo so I don't need to come back to town for a while, so I can really stay out in the world and, quest for a good chunk of while. And that was like the coolest part, is just the prep work before the quest lines, the prep work before you really go out into the world and explore. It didn't really feel like I'm setting myself up to make sure I have enough supplies to keep questing, but rather to change the wording around, I'm venturing for an adventure. And that's what really, I found those aspects of the game so quaint, so nice, so interesting, and it was really difficult to put the game down. Now the second thing I noticed about WoW, and it could have been just this server thing, private server communities and such, and I don't know if you'll experience it exactly the same in Classic WoW, but the first thing I noticed is the community and how social a lot of people are. At one point I ended up leveling a rogue. I was doing a couple of quests south of Ratchet, and another rogue decided to join me, and we were killing mobs together for a while. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, both of us killing some mobs is just gonna be quicker. Sure, I'll team up with this guy, we can quest while we're near. A very talkative guy and a very nice dude, and the whole time it felt like I was in a party chat with somebody I know, like a friend or a guildie or somebody on my Discord friends list. And it was really weird at first, but it was kind of cool. He ended up telling me about the rogue build, asking me if I want to go for a sword build or a dagger build. I had no idea there was a difference between one and the other, and it was just super great just to have someone to interact with while you're doing quests. A complete stranger, but it was awesome. And then from there, I kind of began to notice that even going to while questing in the Barrens, you can always ask people questions, you can always get somebody to get you, some help in a quest line, somebody can always show you exactly where to go, people will always join you, and they'll even go help you out no matter what happens. So many people were just simply social. They were just hanging out and chatting it up, and it was kind of cool. Compared to, at the time, Legion, at least for me, I noticed that there was a lot of quests where you could just use LFG system to just find a group and no one would really talk. It was efficient, you were getting the quest done, but you never really even said hi to a lot of people. And on private server, it was like that. Maybe it was just a private server thing, but I did hear that WoW Vanilla was generally a social game, and you had to be social in order to get into groups, into raids, into wherever. So maybe will be one of those things that will rub off into WoW Classic. But again, your experience might vary. The next thing I thought was really cool was class quests, and I don't know if Legion or BFA really had anything close to it. The closest thing I can think of in Legion towards a class quest was the artifact weapon challenge mode mage appearance. The Mage Tower challenge was a challenge for different specs, and I've done it on every DPS spec, one healer spec, which is discipline, if you can really count it, and one warrior protection spec. So I've done a good amount of them over time in Legion. They were super cool because it gave you a challenge that was designed for your spec. Something only your specialization could do. If you were Outlaw, it was an AoE challenge. Assassination, it was like a cleave single target challenge. Subtlety, it was a challenge about mobility, burst, and sustain, and being able to outlast the enemy with cooldowns. It was super cool. And that's the closest thing that I could think of to a class quest, because class quest was designed for your class. On WoW Vanilla Nostarius, for example, as a hunter, I mentioned it before, but you had to get your pet. You had to do a quest to even learn how to tame pets. You would go through a process and tame different types of pets, and then you unlock the ability to tame pets, and now you can go and tame a pet. A lot of classes had a special quest just to unlock certain key abilities, and it was generally a quest line. Some of them were easier, others were much harder, like I heard a lot about the druid aqua form that made you go and swim to multiple different locations before you could even unlock swimming form. But it's one thing that you'll see actually a lot in WoW Classic is as you level your class, once you actually get into the game, probably might be able to do 1 or 2 during the demo, maybe, we'll see. But once you actually get to those class quests where you can unlock certain abilities just for your class, once you hit a certain level, I think it'll be really cool for a lot of people to experience. I feel like it adds a bit more emphasis on a class identity, and the quests themselves are really cool and entertaining how they were put together. Another thing I noticed about Vanilla when I did play it is abilities felt, at first the best word I had was slow, but the better word that I can come up with now is weighty. A lot of the combat was a lot more weighty, at least in Vanilla. For example, if you're a spellcaster, like a mage or a warlock or a shaman, a lot of your abilities, a lot of your spells hit actually pretty hard. If you're casting a fireball into enemy's face, you're going to really burn them. You're going to do a lot of damage. But that fireball might cost a lot of mana. So you have all these fire spells or frost spells, whatever spells you got, and they hit really hard, but they also cost a lot of mana. So it feels like a power cannon, but you have only a certain amount of shots that you can throw out before you're out of mana. So you have to be mana efficient, you have to maybe use a lower rank of certain spells maybe. Similar thing goes for melee, but for melee there's a lot of auto attacking and finding abilities to use in between of your auto attacks. So for melee it's very similar to what BFA is right now. Good portion of your damage comes from auto attacks, but you also use abilities in between. You don't use kind of abilities over the top of those auto attacks. It kind of just fits together all in the same row. It's a lot more strategic in some sense. It's a lot more fine-tuned. Like you had certain abilities that worked off of your auto attack. So let's say you're auto attacking the enemy and you pop an ability. It's not going to just use the ability outright. It's going to wait for your next auto attack to use that ability. So it felt like it was about taking really small steps in between of basic combat. So instead of the game being heavy about saving your cooldowns for the right trash packs or saving certain abilities for the boss fights, it was more about trying to find ways to weave certain little bit of abilities in between of your general rotation. Anyway guys, those are some of my impressions of what I remember way back when I first time tried Vanilla World of Warcraft. When you guys are trying out WoW Classic today on the demo, maybe you'll remember some of these things and you'll kind of hark back to, oh, Dalaran told me. Yeah, I remember him telling me that. I know exactly how he feels now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and if you guys do get any of these experiences while playing Classic WoW, feel free to come back to this video and let me know in the comments saying, yes, I remember this, or if you had a different experience, let me know as well. I'd appreciate it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Enjoy Classic WoW. I'll probably be playing and streaming it at some point today in streams today on the channel, but I'll also be uploading a bunch of other videos. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see all of you in the next one.